I spent 6 years building my mother's bakery from a cramped corner shop into the most beloved dessert destination in Charleston. Every morning at 4 a.m., I'd unlock those doors, fire up the ovens, and pour my soul into butter, sugar, and flour. The locals called me the pie girl. My mother called me her successor. My stepfather called me a waste of space. Victor moved into our lives 3 years ago, right after Mom's first stroke left her partially paralyzed on her left side. He was charming at first, attentive, always offering to help with the heavy lifting at the bakery. Within 6 months, they were married. Within a year, he'd convinced Mom to put his name on the business paperwork. "Just in case something happens to you, honey," he'd said, squeezing her good hand. "Someone needs to take care of things." I should have seen it coming. It was the morning of my 30th birthday, March 15th. The bakery was closed for a private celebration, just family. I'd spent the previous night crafting a 3-tier lemon lavender cake, Mom's favorite. The same recipe her mother had taught her, the same one that made our bakery famous. I'd even hand-piped tiny sugar flowers around each layer. I arrived at 6 a.m. to find Victor's truck already in the parking lot. Strange. He never came in early. I pushed through the back door, arms full of last-minute decorations, and froze. Victor stood at the office desk with a woman I'd never seen before. Platinum blonde, designer suit, manicured nails tapping on a leather portfolio. Between them sat stacks of documents. "Oh, perfect timing," Victor said, not even looking up. "Sophia, this is Jennifer Chen from Carolina Property Solutions. Jennifer, this is the employee I mentioned." Employee. The word hit me like a slap. "I don't understand," I said slowly, setting down the decorations. "What's going on?" Victor finally met my eyes, and there was nothing warm there. Nothing that resembled the man who'd carved the Thanksgiving turkey at our table just months ago. "Your mother and I have made some decisions about the business. Miss Chen here is helping us finalize the sale." The room tilted. "Sale? What sale? Mom would never." "Your mother is incapacitated," he cut me off. "I have power of attorney. And frankly, Sophia, this business has been bleeding money for years. You're a talented baker, I'll give you that, but you have no head for profit margins. We're selling to a regional chain. They're offering $800,000. I felt my hands go numb. "You can't. This is Mom's legacy. Her mother opened this place in 1972. I've been running it into the ground," Victor interrupted. "The deal closes next week. The new owners will renovate, rebrand. They might keep you on as a contractor if you're lucky, but I wouldn't count on it. They have their own bakers." Jennifer Chen looked uncomfortable, shuffling her papers. "Mr. Reeves, perhaps we should discuss this when—" "No," I said, my voice stronger than I felt. "Where's my mother? Does she know about this?" Victor's smile was cruel. "She's at home, resting. Doctor's orders. All this stress isn't good for her condition. In fact, that's something else we need to address." He pulled out another document. "This is an eviction notice for the apartment upstairs. You've been living there rent-free for 6 years. That ends today. I need you out by 5 p.m. The apartment above the bakery, my home, the place where I'd spent every night since college, where I'd perfected every recipe in our catalog, where I'd nursed Mom through her recovery. Today, Victor, it's my birthday. You're kicking me out on my birthday? Business is business," he shrugged. "You're 30 years old, Sophia. Time to stand on your own 2 feet. I've already changed the locks upstairs. Your belongings are packed in boxes by the dumpster. I suggest you collect them before the rain starts." I looked at Jennifer Chen, desperate. This can't be legal. My mother built this business. I've put in 70-hour weeks for 6 years without a salary, just profit sharing and— "Profit sharing?" Victor laughed. "You mean the money I gave you out of kindness? Sophia, you're not on any official payroll. You have no contract. Legally, you're a volunteer at best. At worst, you're a squatter I've been too generous with." The world narrowed to a pinpoint. 6 years, 70-hour weeks. Every holiday, every weekend, every 4 a.m. wake-up call. The burns on my forearms from oven racks, the calluses on my hands from kneading dough, the recipes I'd developed, the customers I'd cultivated, the reputation I'd built. "You can't do this," I whispered. "I just did," Victor said. "Now, I have a meeting with Miss Chen, about the property transfer. You need to leave. Happy birthday, Sophia. I stood there for a moment, unable to move. Then I turned and walked out through the bakery I'd poured my life into, past the display cases I'd cleaned 1,000 times, past the ovens that felt more familiar than my own heartbeat, past the chalkboard menu written in my handwriting. My boxes were exactly where he'd said, already damp from the morning dew. 12 years of my life in 6 cardboard boxes by a dumpster. I loaded them into my ancient Honda Civic with hands that wouldn't stop shaking. No apartment, no job, no savings because every penny had gone back into our bakery. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother's number, but I knew Victor's style. Don't upset your mother with your drama. She needs rest. I sat in my car in that parking lot and cried until I couldn't breathe. Then I called the one person who'd always believed in me. Nana? My voice cracked. I need help. My grandmother's house sat on 3 acres just outside Beaufort, about an hour from Charleston. She'd raised me until I was 12, before my mother felt stable enough to take me back. Nana had been a force in my childhood, strong, sharp, always smelling of Earl Grey tea and old books. She answered the door in her usual cardigan and pearls, white hair perfectly coiffed despite the early hour. At 78, she still held herself like the Southern belle she'd been raised to be. "Sweet girl," she said, taking in my tear-stained face. "Come inside." Over tea at her kitchen table, I told her everything. She listened without interrupting, her expression unreadable. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "That man is a snake," she finally said. "But your mother is a fool for not seeing it. Still, that's between them." She reached across and took my hand. "The question is, what are you going to do now?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I don't have anything, Nana. No job, no home, no money. 6 years of my life just gone." "Not gone," Nana said firmly. "Stolen. There's a difference. And thieves should be held accountable." She stood up, surprisingly spry. "You'll stay here, of course. The guest room is yours for as long as you need. But first, we need to visit your mother," Victor said. "I don't care what Victor said. That's my daughter, and you're her child. We're going. Now." My mother's house, the house I'd grown up in, that Victor now occupied, looked the same from the outside. Cheerful yellow paint, window boxes full of petunias that I knew Mom couldn't maintain anymore. I'd planted those last spring, before everything changed. Victor's truck was gone. Good. We found Mom in the sunroom, her wheelchair positioned by the window where she could watch the birds. She looked smaller than I remembered, more fragile. Her left hand lay useless in her lap, but her right hand brightened when she saw us. "Sophie," she said, her speech slightly slurred but warm. "Mama, what a nice surprise." I knelt beside her wheelchair, taking her good hand. "Mom, did you know Victor is selling the bakery?" Her face crumpled. "I know. He says we have to. Says it's too much stress for me, too much work for him. Says the money will pay for my care." "That's garbage," Nana said bluntly. "Charlotte, that bakery has been profitable for decades. Victor is lying to you." "He showed me the books," Mom said weakly. "Red numbers everywhere. I don't understand business like he does. And I'm so tired, Mama. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's time." "And kicking Sophie out?" Nana pressed. "Today? On her birthday? That's right too?" Mom's eyes filled with tears. "He said you'd find somewhere better. Said you needed to be independent. He promised you'd be okay." I squeezed her hand. "Mom, I'm not okay. I have nowhere to go. Everything I own is in my car." "You'll stay with Victor and me," Mom said quickly. "Of course you will. I'll talk to him." "No," Nana interrupted. "She'll stay with me. And Charlotte, you need to wake up. That man is robbing you blind, and you're letting him because you're afraid of being alone." "Mama, please," Mom whispered. "He takes care of me. I can't manage without him." We stayed for an hour, but it was clear. My mother had chosen her husband over her daughter, chosen comfort over truth. When we left, she was crying, but she didn't ask me to stay. She didn't question Victor's story. In Nana's car, I finally broke. She doesn't care. She's just letting him destroy everything. "Oh, she cares," Nana said. "But she's scared. Fear makes people do terrible things, justify worse ones. Your mother has always needed someone to lean on. When your father left, she nearly crumbled. When she got sick, she panicked. Victor was there, and now she can't imagine life without him, even if he's poison. So that's it? He just wins? Nana was quiet for a moment, her hands steady on the wheel. Sophie, how much do you know about your grandfather? The question caught me off guard. Grandpa James? He died before I was born. You never talked about him much. He died in 1983, Nana said. Left me with a broken heart and more money than I knew what to do with. Old Charleston money, the kind that comes with land and legacies and complications. Your mother never wanted any part of it. She craved simplicity, normalcy, so I let her have it. I gave her the bakery as a wedding present when she married your father. Kept the rest quiet. I don't understand. What rest? Nana smiled. A sharp thing. When we get home, there's a filing cabinet in my study. Bottom drawer, folder marked estate planning. Bring it to me. It's time you understood what your family really is. The folder was thick, stuffed with documents that made my head spin. Property deeds, investment statements, legal documents with numbers that didn't make sense. Nana spread them across her dining table like a map of buried treasure. Your grandfather owned half of downtown Beaufort, she said. When he died, I inherited everything. In the 40 years since, I've been very, very careful with it. Investments, properties, trusts. Your mother knows I have money, but she thinks it's a comfortable nest egg. A nice retirement fund. She pulled out a statement and pointed. This is the current valuation of the estate. Read it. I read the number once, twice, 3 times. Nana, this says, $43 million, she said calmly. Give or take a few million depending on the market. 72 properties across South Carolina and Georgia. Rental income alone generates $2.4 million annually. I live simply because I choose to, not because I must. My hands shook holding the paper. Why didn't you tell me? Because I was testing your mother, and by extension, you. I wanted to see if she'd raise you right, teach you the value of work and integrity. Money ruins people, Sophie. It makes them lazy, entitled, cruel. I watched it happen to friends, to family members. I wasn't going to let it happen to my granddaughter. But Mom doesn't know? She knows I'm comfortable. She doesn't know the scope. And Sophie, Nana leaned forward. There's something else. The bakery property? Your mother doesn't own it. I do. I bought the building in 1972 and leased it to your grandmother for $1 a year. When she died, the lease transferred to your mother, same terms. Victor has no right to sell what he doesn't own. The world tilted again, but this time in a different direction. You own it? I own the building, the land, and according to these, she shuffled through more papers, I own a significant share of the business itself. Your mother signed papers after her stroke giving me co-ownership. Probably doesn't even remember. I have 51%. Victor has been trying to sell something that's not his to sell. So the deal with Jennifer Chen is worthless without my signature, which he'll never get. Nana's smile was steel. But we're not going to tell him that yet. First, we're going to let him think he's won. Then we're going to take everything. Over the next 3 days, I lived in Nana's guest room and plotted revenge with my 78-year-old grandmother. She was terrifying when she wanted to be. Step 1. We contacted Jennifer Chen directly. Nana's lawyer, a sharp woman named Patricia, who'd worked with our family for decades, made it very clear that Victor had no authority to sell. The deal was dead. Jennifer actually seemed relieved, said something about Victor's aggressive tactics making her uncomfortable anyway. Step 2. We investigated the bakery's finances. Patricia got us access to everything. Turned out, the business wasn't struggling at all. Victor had been siphoning money into a personal account for 2 years, showing losses on paper while pocketing nearly $200,000. He was embezzling, bold as brass. Step 3. The fun part. On the 4th day after my birthday, Nana and I drove to the bakery at 9 a.m., right in the middle of the morning rush. Victor had hired temporary staff to run it while he finalized the sale. The place was packed with my regular customers, people I'd served for years. We walked in wearing business suits. Nana had her hair done professionally, wore her best pearls and a black street john suit that probably cost more than my car. I'd borrowed her clothes, a charcoal gray sheath dress and heels that made me feel like I was playing dress-up, but Nana insisted. Image matters, she'd said. Victor was behind the counter, attempting to operate the espresso machine and failing miserably. He looked up when we entered, and his face went through several emotions: confusion, irritation, then false warmth. "Sophia," he said loudly, "what a surprise! And Mrs. Montgomery, lovely to see you." Nana didn't smile. "Victor, we need to speak, privately. I'm quite busy." "It's about the sale," I said, loud enough that nearby customers turned. "I think you'll want to hear this." His jaw tightened, but he led us to the office. Same room where he'd destroyed my life 4 days ago. Patricia was already there, briefcase open, documents ready. Victor's face went pale. "What is this?" he demanded. "This," Nana said, settling into a chair like a queen on a throne, "is the end of your con. Patricia, if you would." Patricia pulled out the first document. "Mr. Reeves, you've been attempting to sell property you don't own. The building housing this bakery is owned by Eleanor Montgomery. The business itself is 51% owned by Mrs. Montgomery, 49% by Charlotte Reeves. You have no stake whatsoever." "That's impossible," Victor sputtered. Charlotte signed. "She signed paperwork adding her mother as a co-owner for estate planning purposes," Patricia continued. "What she didn't sign was anything giving you ownership or selling authority. Your power of attorney covers medical decisions and household bills. It does not extend to selling property you don't own." I watched the blood drain from his face. "Charlotte will back me up. She agreed to the sale." "Because you lied to her about the finances," I said, pulling out the second stack of documents. "These are the real books. The bakery has been profitable every year I've run it. These—" I slapped down another stack. "Show the money you've been stealing. $193,000 over 2 years, funneled into an account in your name only." Victor's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You can't prove." "Actually, we can," Patricia said. "Electronic transfers, all traceable. You were sloppy, Mr. Reeves. You thought no one was paying attention." Nana stood up, and despite her small frame, she seemed to fill the room. "Here's what's going to happen, Victor. You're going to go home right now and pack a bag. You're going to move out of my daughter's house. You're going to sign divorce papers, accept no settlement, and disappear from our lives." "Or what?" he sneered. "You'll call the police? Go ahead. Charlotte will never testify against me. She needs me." "We don't need the police," Nana said softly. "We have something better. Sophie, show him." I pulled out my phone and opened the video I'd recorded 2 days ago. Mom's voice filled the tiny office. He said the bakery was losing money, but Sophie always told me we were doing well. I didn't understand. He showed me papers with red numbers, said we had to sell. But now I don't know what to believe. The stroke made everything so confusing. Did he lie to me, Mama? Did I let him steal from Sophie? Victor lunged for my phone, but Patricia blocked him. "That's assault, Mr. Reeves. I have 2 witnesses." "We also have this," Nana said, and nodded to me again. I played the second recording. Victor's voice this time, from a conversation I'd secretly recorded 3 days ago when I'd gone back to the house alone. "Your mother's a cash cow with a weak mind. You think I married her for love? She was vulnerable, desperate, perfect. Another year or 2 and I'll have enough to disappear. She'll never even know what happened." He'd said it to me, gloating, thinking I was powerless. Victor's face went from red to gray. "That's illegal recording." "South Carolina is a one-party consent state," Patricia said. Sophia was part of both conversations, perfectly legal. "Now, we can do this the easy way or the hard way." "Easy way. You leave quietly, sign the papers, and we don't press charges or release these recordings publicly." "Hard way. We go to the police with evidence of embezzlement and elder abuse, and we make sure every news outlet in Charleston knows exactly what kind of man you are." "You're bluffing." But his voice shook. "Try me," Nana said. "I've lived 78 years on this earth, young man. I've buried a husband, raised a family, built an empire you can't even imagine. You are a small, greedy little man who thought he could steal from my family. You have no idea what I'm capable of." The silence stretched. Finally, Victor broke. Fine, I'll go. "But Charlotte is no longer your concern," I said. "Mom is moving in with Nana. She'll have round-the-clock care, physical therapy, everything she needs. You're done pretending to be her savior. The divorce papers will be delivered tomorrow, Patricia added. You have 72 hours to move out. If you contact Charlotte, if you set foot in this bakery, if you so much as drive past her house, we will prosecute. Are we clear? Victor grabbed his jacket and stormed out without another word. Through the office window, I watched him shove past confused customers and slam his way out the front door. Well, Nana said, brushing imaginary dust from her suit. That was invigorating. Sophie, I believe you have a bakery to run. The next week was a blur. We hired back my old assistant, Maria, who'd been laid off when Victor took over. We brought in a business manager to handle the finances properly. We renovated the upstairs apartment with handicap accessibility and moved Mom in. She cried when she realized what Victor had done, cried harder when she understood what I'd almost lost. I'm so sorry, she kept saying. I was so scared of being alone, I didn't see what he was. I know, Mom, I told her, holding her good hand. But you're not alone. You never were. Nana sat us both down one evening in the apartment above the bakery. Charlotte, Sophie, I want to talk about the future. I'm not getting any younger, and it's time to make things official. She pulled out new documents. The bakery is yours, Sophie. Full ownership, in your name only. The building, too. Charlotte, you'll have a trust that covers your medical care and living expenses for life. And Sophie, when I'm gone, you'll inherit the rest. The properties, the investments, all of it. 43 million reasons to never let another Victor into our lives. I stared at the papers. Nana, I can't. You can and you will. You've earned it. Not because of blood, but because you spent 6 years working yourself to the bone for something you loved, never asking for recognition or reward. You built something beautiful from scratch. That's what the women in this family do. We build, we endure, we survive, and we take care of our own. Mom was crying again, but this time it was different. Mama, I don't deserve. No, you don't, Nana said bluntly. You made terrible choices, Charlotte, but you're my daughter, and I love you despite your foolishness. Sophie is the future now. Your job is to heal, to support her, and to never be that weak again. 6 months later, the bakery was thriving. We'd expanded the menu, hired 3 new bakers, and opened a second location in Beaufort. My lemon lavender cake, the one I'd made for my birthday that Victor ruined, became our signature item. We sold 60 of them a week. Mom was walking again with a cane, her speech almost back to normal. She spent her mornings doing physical therapy and her afternoons in the bakery, greeting customers from a comfortable chair by the window. She couldn't bake anymore, but she could smile and chat and make people feel welcome. It was enough. Victor tried to contest the divorce, then the embezzlement charges. He lost both. Last I heard, he was working at a car dealership in Columbia, forbidden from coming within 50 miles of Charleston. Good riddance. And Nana? She started teaching me the family business, how to read property contracts, manage investments, navigate the complex world of serious wealth. Every Sunday, we'd sit in her study and she'd share one more piece of the empire she'd built. You're a Montgomery woman now, she told me one afternoon. Not by marriage, but by choice. We don't let people use us. We don't stay small to make others comfortable. We build legacies that last. On my 31st birthday, exactly 1 year after Victor kicked me out, we threw a party at the bakery. The whole town came. I made a 3-tier lemon lavender cake, same as before, but this time I got to eat it surrounded by people who loved me. I gave a toast. A year ago today, I lost everything. My home, my job, my dignity. A man who I'd trusted told me I was worthless, that everything I'd built was nothing. He threw me away like garbage on my birthday. I paused, looking around at the bakery I'd reclaimed, the family I'd saved, the future I'd secured. But he was wrong. I wasn't nothing. I was just getting started. The crowd cheered. Mom squeezed my hand. Nana raised her champagne glass with that steel smile I'd come to love. To strong women, Nana said. To second chances. And to making damn sure the villains get exactly what they deserve. We drank to that. And in the back corner, barely visible, was a framed document on the wall. The deed to the building, dated 1972, in my grandmother's name. A reminder that some foundations are stronger than they appear. that some women hold power quietly, waiting for the right moment to use it. That revenge, when served correctly, tastes sweeter than any pie I could ever bake.